Today we're playing Tetris 99. For those who don't know, it's Tetris mixed with Battle Royale. And I've played a little bit of it, but I'm terrible. But today I'm going to get first place. I'm already 38th place. I'm gone down to 46. Still alright though. It's 50. Oh no. I'm so in the zone right now. Fuck, that was an accident. It's all falling apart. Shit. I got 50th though. That's almost half. If you really, it's 51st, which is, it's just under half, but you know. Could have been worse. I could have gotten 52nd. That guy's a fucking loser. What's his name? Yuki? Fuck you, Yuki. I don't know how to stop these blocks from appearing. I probably should have figured out a guide to this game. And not just winged it. I was so close to the funny sex number. I was so close, and I couldn't even get that. Fuck! Fuck! I accidentally pressed up. I meant to switch. I am terrible at this game. I need to be playing this on a bigger TV, not a monitor. You know what the problem is? This stream isn't scuffed enough. Hang on, give me a second. There you go. This is the amount of scuff we needed. The amount that we were looking for. You gotta appreciate the eerie silence that comes with this. Look, I know you guys can't see it too well, but you just have to trust that I am playing top tier Tetris right now. There's less than 50 players remaining. I'm honestly playing the best Tetris of tonight. Look, I don't know if you guys can see that, but I got 38th place. That's honestly the best I've done. The scuff is working for me. We can go even deeper. My mic has some filters on right now, like noise suppression and compressors and stuff. I'm gonna turn all of this off, and then I'm going to add an expander, gain, and invert the polarity. And I'll just set everything to max, and we'll just see what happens from there. How's that sound? Is that better? Can you guys hear me alright? Alright, well, let's play another game. We should probably put on some music to get over this quiet, eerie silence. Okay, so I got 84th that time, which comparatively is probably the worst Tetris I've played so far. But I'm sure that was a fluke. I'm sure that I'm playing way better now. I'm gonna go find some loud, crunchy snacks to eat in front of the mic. I found some of those cinnamon graham cracker giant goldfish things that they always gave us in elementary school. Why the fuck are these in my pantry? Before this game gets started. I fixed the game, it should be better now. I mean, 56, it could be worse. Let me take another bite out of these crackers. You know what makes this game even better? There we go. Oh, it's getting pretty hot in here. Let me go turn on my fan.
need more music. The stream needs to be more scuffed. I need to get first place. We can go even deeper.
Well, as this stream comes to an end, I'd like to thank everyone who showed up, and I would like to apologize if the scuff had been taken too far at any point. Now, it's time to bring the mood and the energy back to normal levels, so that is why I'll be reading The House of Silk by Anthony Horowitz. So relax, get yourself a nice cup of tea, and we will start at page 1. I have often reflected upon the strange series of circumstances that led me to my long association with one of the most singular and remarkable figures of my age. If I were of a philosophical frame of mind, I might wonder to what extent any one of us is in control of our own destiny, or, if indeed we can ever predict the far-reaching consequences of actions which, at the time, may seem entirely trivial. For example, it was my cousin, Arthur, who recommended me as assistant surgeon to the 5th Northumberland Fusiliers because he thought it would be a useful experience for me, and he could not have possibly foreseen that a month later I would be dispatched to Afghanistan. At that time, the conflict, which had to be known as the Second Anglo-Afghan War, had not even commenced, and what of the Ghazi who, with a single twitch of his finger, sent a bullet hurtling into my shoulder at my wand? 900 British and Indian souls died that day, and it was doubtless his intention that I would be one of them. But his aim was awry, and although I was badly wounded, I was saved by Jack Murray, my loyal and good-hearted orderly who managed to carry me over 2 miles of hostile territory and back to British lines. Murray died in Kandahar in September of that year, so would never know that I was invalidated home, and that I then devoted several months, small tribute to his effort, on my behalf, to a somewhat wasteful existence on the fringes of London society. At the end of that time, I was seriously considering a move to the South Coast, a necessity forced on me by the stark reality of my rapidly diminishing finances. It had also been suggested to me that the sea air might be good for my health. Cheaper rooms in London would have been a more desirable alternative, and I did very nearly take lodging with a stockbroker on Euston Road. The interview did not go well, and immediately afterwards I made my decision. It would be Hastings. Less convivial, perhaps, than Brighton, but half the price. My personal possessions were packed. I was ready to go. But then we come to Henry Stanford, not a close friend of mine, but an acquaintance who had served as my dresser at St. Bart's. Had he not been drinking late the night before, he would not have had a headache, and, but for that headache, he might not have chosen to take that day off from the chemical laboratory where he was now employed. Lingering at Piccadilly Circus, he decided to stroll up Regent Street to Arthur Liberty's East India House to purchase a gift for his wife. It is strange to think that, had he walked the other way, he would not have bumped into me as I came out of the Criterion bar, and, as a result, I might never have met Sherlock Holmes. For, as I have written elsewhere, it was Stanford who suggested that I might share rooms with a man who he believed to be an analytical chemist and who worked at the same hospital as he. Stanford introduced me to Holmes, who was then experimenting with the method of isolating bloodstains. The first meeting between us was odd, disconcerting, and certainly memorable, a fair indication of all that was to come. This was the great turning point of my life. I had never any literary ambitions. Indeed, if anyone suggested that I might be a published writer, I would have laughed at the thought, but I think I can say, in all honesty and without flattering, that I had become quite renowned for the way I have chronicled the adventures of the great man, and felt no small sense of honor when I was invited to speak as memorial service on Westminster Abbey, an invitation which I respectfully declined. Holmes had often sneered at my prose style, and I could not help but feel that I had taken my place as the pulpit, At the pulpit, I would have felt him standing at my shoulder, gently mocking where I might say from beyond the grave. It was always his belief that I exaggerated his talents and the extraordinary insights of his brilliant mind. He would laugh at the way I would construct my narrative so as to leave to the end a resolution which he swore he had deduced in the opening paragraphs. He accused me more than once of vulgar romanticism, and thought me no better than any Grub Street scribbler. But generally, I think he was unfair. In all the time I knew him, I never saw Holmes read a single work of fiction, with the exception, that is, of the worst items of sensational literature. Although I cannot make any great claim for my own powers of description, I am prepared to say that they did the job that he himself could have done no better. Indeed, Holmes almost admitted as much when he finally took pen to paper and set out, in his own words, the strange case of Godfrey Emsworth. This episode was presented as The Adventure of the Blanched Soldier, a title which in itself falls short of perfection in my view, for blanching would surely be more appropriate to an almond. I have, as I say, received more recognition for my literary endeavors, but that, of course, was never the point. Though the various twists of fate which I have outlined, I was the most chosen to bring the achievements of the world's foremost consulting detective to light, and presented no fewer than 60 adventures to the enthusiastic public. More valuable to me, though, was my long friendship with the man himself. It is a year since Holmes was found at his home on the Downs, stretched out still, that great mind forever silenced. When I heard the news, I realized that I had not just lost my closest companion and friend, but, in many ways, the very reason for my existence. Two marriages, 3 children, 7 grandchildren, a successful career in medicine, and the Order of Merit awarded to me by His Majesty King Edward VII in 1908 might be considered achievement enough for anyone. But not for me. I miss him to this day, and sometimes in my waking moments, I fancy that I hear them still, those familiar words. The game's afoot, Watson. They serve only to remind me that I will never again plunge into the darkness and swirling fog of Baker Street with my trusty service revolver in my hand. I think of Holmes often, waiting for me on the other side of that great shadow which must come to us all. And in truth, I long to join him. I am alone. My old wound plagues me to the end, and as a terrible and senseless war rages on the continent, I find I no longer understand the world in which I live. So why do I take up my pen one final time to stir up memories which might be better forgotten? Perhaps my reasons are selfish. It could be that, like so many old men with their lives behind them, I am seeking some sort of solace. The nurses who attend upon me assure me that writing is therapeutic, and will prevent me from falling into the moods to which I am sometimes inclined. But there is another reason too. The adventures of The Man in the Flat Cabin, The House of Silk were, in some respects, the most sensational of Sherlock Holmes's career, but at the time it was impossible for me to tell them. For reasons that will become abundantly clear, the fact that they became inextricably tangled up, the one with the other, meant they could not be separated. And yet, it has always been my desire to set them down, to complete the Holmes canon. In this, I am like a chemist in pursuit of a formula, or perhaps a collector of rare stamps who cannot take full pride in his catalog knowing there is to be 2 or 3 specimens that have evaded his grasp. I cannot prevent myself. It must be done. It was impossible before, and I am not just referring to Holmes's well-known aversion to publicity. No, the events which I am about to describe are simply too monstrous, too shocking to appear in print. They still are. It's no exaggeration to suggest that they would tear apart the entire fabric of society and, particularly at a time of war, this is something I cannot risk. When I am done, assuming I have the strength for the task, I'll have this manuscript packed up and sent to the vaults of Cox & Co. in Charing Cross, where certain others of my private papers are stored. I will give instructions that for 100 years the packet must not be opened. It is impossible to imagine what the world will be like then, what advances mankind will have made, but perhaps future readers will be more inured to scandal and corruption than my own would have been. To them, I bequeath one last portrait of Mr. Sherlock Holmes, and perspective that has not been seen before. But I have wasted enough energy on my own preoccupations. I should have already opened the door to 221B Baker Street, and entered the room where so many adventures began. I see it now, the glow of the lamp behind the glass and the 17 steps beckoning me up the street. How far away they seem, how long ago since I was there. Yes, there he is, with pipe in hand. He turns to me. He smiles. The game's afoot. Well, that seems like a great place to end this. Thank you.